Welcome, everybody. This is Hugh Massie, the chairman and founder of DNA Behavior International. And today I'm delighted to be hosting another identity conversation. And I'm lucky to have with me Rachel Hyman, who is the managing director of the Family Wealth Alliance in Chicago. And Rachel's had a very interesting career covering technology, building key relationships, working with families, and now she's helping Tom Livergood lead the Family Wealth Alliance and managing projects, but also the key relationships. So welcome, Rachel.
Thank you, Hugh. It's truly a pleasure to be here.
So Rachel, why don't you just tell me a little bit about your life and career background and how you've got to being in the place of leading the Family Wealth Alliance?
Sure. So my background, I'm originally from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, so a smaller Midwestern town. I come from a family of, my father was an attorney, my mom was a stay-at-home mom, lots of brothers and sisters, very, very calm existence. And then I went to, did my undergrad at Wharton at the University of Pennsylvania, which kind of changed my outlook on life. I got out of that little Midwestern bubble and saw the rest of the world there, and focused there on marketing and strategy primarily. After that, I went out to a totally nascent industry in the Silicon Valley and started with a startup called Oracle. And before it was even a known entity, I used to have to explain what we did in detail, and started there actually focused on compensation because my background was from Wharton, so they thought I would slide right into finance. And what I found, Hugh, early in my career was I enjoyed the finance, but what I enjoyed the most was interacting with the salespeople on the commission side, interacting with the technology people, interacting with the people and not just the numbers. And so I came up with an idea at that point that had never been done before to really help support those salespeople and the technology people to get them to communicate better. And it was called the Sales Advisory Board. First time I took my idea and I took it to management and created a new initiative and built it from scratch based on the fact that I really wanted to help the people through communicating with each other.
Yeah.
And so that was sort of an aha moment for me, right? They slotted me in finance and sitting behind the computer didn't excite me. So I started working with people and helping them by making an impact. And that sort of took my career in a different direction. Went back to business school at Kellogg and focused on marketing and strategy and a little bit of finance in there too. And then ended up going back to Oracle to build a tiny little concept called the internet for them. And after a while, decided I wanted to try creating ideas and helping smaller businesses during the boom of technology. And so I left and decided to start my own consulting firm. And a lot of people were leaving at the time. We had incredible training at Oracle. And it was a community where we knew each other, we trusted each other, and we helped build all these startups into companies. And I loved that. I loved the variety of it. I loved working with people and really helping take their businesses to the next level. And then tried going back into corporate America at a E-Trade Financial on the marketing side. And because I thought I missed being part of corporate America and realized I wasn't sure that was the right fit again.
Yeah.
Tried nonprofit for a while, building something there that had never been done before. I loved that. I loved working with the people and building something new. And then had my first child. And at that point, life changes again, and you have to reevaluate again. And so I focused on consulting because it gave me full full flexibility for being a parent as well. And then along the way, just kept networking. And as my children got older, decided I really missed being in the day-to-day, and tried a number of different paths through consulting. And that led me to the Family Wealth Alliance, long story short, just through people I met along the way. And at some point, somebody said, the perfect opportunity is available to you. So I tell my kids now, it took me 50 years to find the job that I love.
Yeah.
And I truly believe this is the best fit of any role I've ever had before.
So why is it such a great fit for you at the Family Wealth Alliance? I mean, you've had such an interesting background with Oracle, consulting in the Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
Helping smaller businesses grow, not-for-profits. I mean, it's really a tremendous career, and been very interesting. But what is it now about the Family Wealth Alliance that you really love?
First of all, I love the team, and I think I'm very focused on the people that you work with and how that really makes or breaks your job satisfaction. I like that it's an entrepreneurial environment, but it's also a team. It's one place. I'm not on a bunch of different consulting gigs at the same time, right? I'm actually making something, building something, having an impact. I love our end users, our advisors that we work with, really helping them optimize their business on a day-to-day basis. So and the relationships on the internal and external relationships that I get to build make all the difference for me. So job satisfaction wise, it's tremendous, both internally and externally. And the industry is fascinating. So all those.
Had you had any exposure to family wealth situations before?
Family wealth situations before, but not, being in the Silicon Valley for so many years, definitely exposed to it. Working at E-Trade, definitely exposed to the finance side of the business, but nothing in this particular area of family offices and multifamily wealth.
So it wasn't about family events as such in terms of the liquidity, the liquidity event,
right,
or the family dynamics of themselves. It's more about the challenge of building and managing a team, and then also the external relationships.
Exactly.
Building those. And which one, if I said, what do you love doing more, building the internal relationship or the external relationship?
In this role, I love my internal team. Yeah. And the entire team actually does report up to me. Yeah. But the external relationships are always more, I don't know if I want to say more fulfilling, but which one do I love more? I do love that. I really like making an impact and connecting with people throughout the country on where they're at and helping customize how to help them moving forward in their business.
Yeah, well, that was the answer I was expecting you to say, because I wasn't expecting you to say, well, you didn't love your team, because I know you do, and I don't think you need to be shy about that for your team hearing this. I think it's more about also with the experience that you've had. You've in a way had a big career, and being able to draw in big relationships that I know the Family Wealth Alliance has. To benefit the family offices and the advisors and the community would seem to be it.
Yeah, definitely.
But Rachel, what's the magic that you bring to securing those relationships and managing those relationships? Why do they come in droves to the Family Wealth Alliance?
Yeah, we have had a significant, thank you for saying that. We have had significant increase in membership. We've doubled our membership since I've joined. And I can't take all the credit for that. Who knows where it all came from? But we have customized and personalized those relationships to a point where we never did before. It's not a one size fits all. And I think that's something that I have learned along my career path. That makes all the difference, especially in today's environment. You can't give the same membership from firm A to firm B. It just doesn't work. So really customizing it and getting to know, that all comes down to getting to know the people and getting to know the firm and what their idea of success and value, where they're going to get their ROI. So really getting to know these people to know how we can best make the impact.
Because and I know you probably see it from a consultant's lens as well. It's an amazingly big challenge, and we face it too in our business, that we all want to scale the business and make it the most of it and repeat and have processes.
Yeah.
But in this day and age, hyper-personalization and customization are so important.
Right.
And everybody wants to feel uniquely valued, but how you do it is not that easy. And maybe you can just share a little bit more about how you do personalize the relationships.
Yeah,
from a process point of view.
Sure. From a process point of view, first, it's really developing the relationship, right? Like getting to know the people, talking to the people, going a little bit further in depth. It's not a sales process. It's just a getting to know each other process. Tell me more about your firm. Tell me more about your challenges. Tell me where you see yourself. So we ask a lot of questions, and that just comes naturally to me because I'm a curious person. And I think coming up with innovative ideas and being flexible along the way with that really helps. But listening to what they have to say also, and then saying, here's how I can help you. And here's how our firm, our wide variety of resources that we develop, and I help make sure we're continuing to update and evolve those resources. But here's how our resources fit into what your picture of success is. And I think that's the difference. It's really asking the right questions, getting the right rapport, maybe, with whoever it happens to be. And then coming up with a solution that's uniquely valuable to them at where they're at right now. And then it's a living document, right? We're constantly updating. If they need something else, they know to call me and I'll figure it out for them.
So it's really the mix and matching of the solutions that the Family Wealth Alliance has on its platform.
Yeah.
And then allowing the members, the customer, to choose which ones they want of that to have their own package, essentially.
Yep. Exactly. And I will suggest, here's all the things we have. Here's, based on what you've told me, where I think you should start to focus. Once you get your ROI from that, then we can talk about where we're going to go next. But I think that is unique in our industry. We feel like we're the advisor to the advisors. So we want to be the first call when they have questions. They know they can count on me to help them. And then they can look like a star in front of their clients. We're behind the scenes helping them look like a star. And in a way, Hugh, it's kind of just mini consulting projects all the way around, right?
Because each one is a consulting, in a way, it's a consulting project.
Yeah.
In its own right. Each customer is, in a way, is getting consulted with to choose what they want.
Which is what I love about it. I mean, I get to do that small scale through all of our firms. I get to meet the people and really connect with them to do that.
So how do you see the linkage to, your career with Oracle, when you had the consulting firm and you were helping smaller businesses? Is there anything different that you're doing now that you did then?
I think I'm taking it to the next level now because I have a broader platform. I think, the trickiest part for me was really re-entering into a full-time role.
So Rachel, just, connecting your career in the past as a consultant helping the small businesses to now, there's a lot of similarities.
Yes.
But it seems a big theme in there is not only your skills at asking questions, but also helping the clients innovate. Is that,
Yeah.
Am I on the right track there?
Yeah, I mean, I think I really want to make sure that whatever I'm involved in makes an impact. For a number of years, I was a admissions officer for MBA programs and admissions consultant for various MBA programs. And really tying that was during my consulting period, but it's the same thing here. It's really wanting to make an impact for the individual, for the firm, for their clients, their end clients, and coming up with new ideas to do that. Something they may never have heard of before, a golden nugget that they say, aha, I need that. And they're willing to invest in that potential. And then we need to follow through and make sure it happens.
Yeah, and do the nuggets just come from what you see somebody else do, and then another conversation, and you just pull it all together, or is it research or?
I think it's a little bit of all of those things, Hugh. I think it's working with a great team who has lots of ideas, and I think it's, as I said, getting to know our clients on a very very deep level in terms of what is important to their business and what is important to their clients, and really understanding those two and pulling something together that hasn't been done necessarily before or they haven't thought of before, and bringing it, making that impact, having that value for them. I just love doing that. I wouldn't be good doing the same thing every day, and I wouldn't be good doing it like behind the computer. I have to be connecting with people. I have to be helping make things better in some way.
Yeah, and I think that with your communication skills and ability to engage people and ask questions, that you get the opportunity to do that. And so long as there's enough, there's obviously a lot of tools and opportunities and programs with Family Wealth Alliance that enable you to do the mix and match.
Exactly. Yeah, we just have to keep creating new ones, and I can help with that side of the business because I talk to the members and find out what they want, right? And then we create a program from that, or we have a program and we bring it to them. Either way, it works out beautifully together.
It's always important to find the programs that enough members want to have in some way as well.
Yes.
To make it worthwhile. That's always a challenge in customizing, because otherwise then you end up with 50 different programs that one person. Exactly.
Well, and we've created a few new programs in the last 2 years that are focused on helping them connect with each other. Right. Yep. So in a smaller, more intimate level than we've ever done before. And again, I think that's because that's sort of where I come from in terms of communicating, whether it's, from 30 years ago, creating a sales advisory board or a customer advisory board, to now having people on roundtables, CEO level people on roundtables, actually talking to each other about their challenges, the lessons they've learned, but really getting people to communicate in a way and open up with each other in a trusting environment and not a competitive mindset.
Yeah, I think that's very interesting. I'm a very different person to you in style, being more of an initiator, and for our listeners, Rachel's an engager, but is more outgoing, likes the outside relationships, networking with people. I think that's, for everybody, that's been quite obvious, but coming through the call today. But it's interesting just connecting on roundtables. I found that to be a very successful formula for us this year as well. Just getting 7 or 8 people together, right, to have a very in-depth discussion about a very pointed topic. And sometimes we've done the same one with just different groups.
Right. Yep. Exactly.
And it's better than Zoom. Just a Zoom presentation as such that's you're just talking into a screen and hoping
Right.
that someone might listen to a word or two while they're typing on something else. It seems to be a great way to, to build connection, get thought leadership, make people feel involved.
Yes. And we started these, we actually started our first one around chief marketing officers, because that's my background. And in this particular industry, a marketing person has different dynamics than marketing for a bank or something else in finance. And so it's a very small peer group when it comes down to it. So talking to other people who are facing the same challenges, very interesting. And then we went to CEOs, and now we're getting requests for more and more of these. COOs want to talk to each other. Chief information officers want to talk to each other. All different areas of our business have asked for roundtables. And I want to mention, these are things that we're asking them to pay for in addition, right? So they see enough value and that's my whole thing, is I have to make sure they see enough value, but they see enough value in having a trusted cohort created that are peers in their specific niche. And so again, it comes down to personalizing their journey with us.
But that really, at the end of the day, that's probably where the next level of innovation in your ongoing programs comes from as well, from the ideas that come up in these cohorts.
Yeah, it helps. It definitely helps, because we can also run ideas by them.
So just moving along, Rachel, and I started to allude to it with mentioning your financial DNA style, being an engager. You're a very outgoing, communicative person, creative, and trusting as well. So there's some of the key traits. But when you completed the process, how did you feel about it? What was your impression?
Yeah, so it was part of my interview process, to be honest. So at the Family Wealth Alliance, every single individual goes through the business DNA process. And I found it to be very challenging to answer a lot of the questions. And now I understand more about why that was so challenging, but to being forced into choosing was very hard for me. And when it came out, it was so spot on. It was spooky to me. It was incredible. And then looking at the rest of the members of my team on your circle, made it all make sense, because that's why we all work so well together. We have people distributed throughout your circle, and we all bring different things to the table. So it's really proven itself to be invaluable.
What did it say for you, though? What was a standout point for you in the outcome of it? Did it say something new to you, or just confirm something? Because that's equally as valuable as telling you something new.
I think it articulated things that maybe I knew, but I had never put words to. How important relationships really are to me professionally and personally. How important that whole aspect of connecting with other people and creating new ideas together, making an impact. All the same, I feel like I'm repeating the same words over and over, but balancing the results of what we can do with those relationships as well. So I think it was an eye-opener in a lot of ways.
Yeah, so really just sort of reconfirming, it brought out, you as a relationship builder, wanting to connect with people, connecting their ideas, bringing people together.
Yes, exactly.
Because that's something that seems to be a unique innovation for the Family Wealth Alliance, is the way in which you're bringing people together.
Right. Yeah. I think
create these cohorts.
Yes, these cohorts are new. And a number of the other things we're doing at a more intimate relationship level are new. We've created what we call customized membership plans. So that goes directly to what we were talking about earlier, really understanding each client's needs and desires, objectives, goals, and objectives, working with us and coming up with a plan for how we can address that. Those are all new. And those all speak to what I think is really important. And I think that came out through the business DNA analysis.
Yeah, and so just going forward in terms of, you know, your identity and your impact in the business community, maybe the general community, you know, of the things that you've done, you know, how do you see your identity in the future? How do that, you know, where do you sort of see yourself being elevated to and wanting to do more of?
I think like I said, I absolutely love the relationship side of it. So that could never go away for me. That's going to be key to me. And connecting with it on an intelligent level, and a creatively ideation around that, I guess I would say. Creating something new, adding value, but really always having that relationship and partnership mentality at my core. I do think in this industry in particular, being a female leader is very important. I think we need more of that. And so, you know, I'd love to be able to continue that moving forward. And I just enjoy serving our clients and our members most effectively.
The industry definitely needs a whole lot more female leaders at the top to drive it forward.
Right.
Because otherwise, I think too many of the clients will in a way get left behind or not get the service that they need or the thinking that they need.
And I think they're noticing that.
And have you worked on any female specific programs or, you know, if you want to call it DEI related programs as well to bring, you know, the female, whether it's the female leader in a financial services firm, but also the clients, because I think we all know now that the women are holding at least an equal amount of wealth. They're earning an equal amount of wealth, not just being given it through inheritance, but they're earning it too.
That's right. That's a great question. So yes, we have in the last few larger events we've actually focused on women in wealth and how to create that from a culture standpoint within your firm, how to encourage more women in leadership.
Yeah.
In 2022, we have a whole initiative. Actually, we have a whole day event called Women in Wealth. And it's looking at it from both of the lenses that you're talking about. Exactly. So both from within the firm, how do you encourage more women in leadership, but also the women you serve, how do you most effectively serve them? And as I said, we think of ourselves as the advisor to the advisors. So we need to be able to help them on the EQ side, right? We're not going to help them with the financial side of that. We're going to help them with how do you relate most effectively? What are the dynamics that you need to keep in mind in these relationships that are different than other relationships that you have with your families? So yes, we actually have a big event coming up on that as well.
Yeah. So your leadership as a female, and given the great background you've had, the great consulting background, really from the time you left college at Columbia through till now, positions yourself very well to, and FWA, I think, being the Family Wealth Alliance, to growing this dimension of the business. Because if there aren't more female leader icons brought through, then it's going to be hard to give the female clients
right
the service that they deserve as well.
Right.
And I think it's also important for the female leader, for the male leaders to learn how to work with a female leader side by side. The clients need both parties. I know there are women at times that ask, I want a male to help me with how does another male think? But they don't want to talk about their inner life necessarily with a male, but they want to understand both sides of it. And I think, men sometimes want that from a female too, and how we bring all that together.
Right. And it's very interesting, Hugh, because, early in my career after Wharton, very often I was the only female in the room. I mean, for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I've sort of seen this evolution, and now the excitement around let's put women at the forefront a little bit more. It's a great time to be a female leader and to promote female leadership as well. And luckily for me, the founder and CEO of our firm, who's my mentor, is male, and he sees the value of female leadership in this industry.
So I think there's a great opportunity there for you to innovate in building these relationships, these roundtables, to really bring through the female leadership component as well.
Yes.
Will be extremely differentiating.
Yes.
And I think, Rachel, with your diverse experience, that's so important because this is multifaceted, what you're doing, because you're helping a financial services firm or a wealth management firm with all of its services, who have also then got to connect to, the holders of family wealth.
Right.
That needs a lot of dimensions. If you just had dealt with the family wealth issues, that wouldn't be enough.
Right.
To do this.
And that's what's fascinating about it every day. Right. So I don't deal with the families directly. I hear about what happens with the families directly, but we get to be behind the scenes and really the support system.
Yeah, no, that's great. So is there any other tips that you've got for our listeners that you would pass on? A budding female leader should hear, or somebody stepping out in the consulting world that's, making their way, or a family, whatever you would like to say?
Yeah, I mean, I think I said earlier, it took me 50 years to get to a point where I really love what I do. And not that I didn't enjoy my zigzagging career along the way, but this one fits who I am better than any I've had before. And I would just tell people to keep at it, because you may never know where your path is going to lead you, but someday it'll all make sense. Hopefully. Yeah. And where it goes from here, I don't know, but I'm excited to find out.
Life's not a straight line, is it? And each thing you do, whether it works out the way you want it to or doesn't work out, sets you up for the next thing. And if you believe in that, you end up getting to a great place. It took me a long time in some ways to really find my place too. And I know that from a male side, but some people find it quickly, others work at it, but it's always a glorious journey, I think.
Yeah. And I actually think having to sort of re-enter the workforce after not taking a full break, but taking a different kind of career path to start a family, that was probably the biggest challenge in my career. And I think that needs to be heard more in terms of, you can get back in. It just is going to take a while. So don't give up.
But you've got to know what you love doing and what you're good at, and I think have confidence in yourself as well. And I think that's part of where female leaders are going to need help, because most want to go and have a family. Not everybody does, but a lot want to go and have a family and want to give kids the time, that time when they're younger. And all that space has got to be created, but people need to have other mentors to see how to do it and that it can be done. And
that is the hard part. I agree. So I am happy to help with that any way I can.
Well, thank you, Rachel. It's been, a great pleasure talking with you today, and we'll look forward to, keeping the discussions going.
Thank you, Hugh. It's been an honor to speak with you. I've really enjoyed it.